Hello, modern drummer. I'm David Frangioni. We're here backstage with Mickey Cavs. Mickey, welcome.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks,
Good
man.
to see you, man. So, Mickey, obviously, the fans know you from King Gizzard. Mm-hmm. But your drumming journey started before the band, of course.
Yeah.
So, where did it start? How old were you? How'd you find the drums?
I guess it just started. Well, I'm from like small country town in New South Wales, and when I first started drumming, it was just in the local pub, and with my like cover band at school, and we'd be playing in the pubs when we were like 16, 17, and
So high school.
yeah, and just and literally just playing AC/DC covers for like 4 hours straight. Yeah.
But how did you find the drums before that, right? Because to get to the point where
Yeah.
you can play those tunes,
Yeah.
you had to have a kit or
Yeah.
pots and pans, or how did it go?
Yeah, I think I got I started late. I think I got my first kit when I was like maybe 15 or something. And but I was always just fascinated by, like, I guess not so much drums, but like just rhythm and time. And and music. Always, just when I was real young, just like loved music, all kinds of music. But then, I don't know, just fell into the drums.
And your family,
Yeah.
were they a musical family?
No.
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 So you were the outlier.
Yeah. I think my granddad played a bit of clarinet or something, but other than that, I don't think there is anything.
So
Not that I know.
So you get a kit when you're 15.
Yeah.
And did your friend have a kit? Like, how did you
Yeah,
get a kit?
yeah. Oh well, my cousin played drums, and he had a drum kit, and he lived not too far from us. So I'd be like when I was like 10 years old or something, the little annoying cousin that would go sit in like on his drum lessons and stuff, and yeah.
And that's when you caught the
Yeah,
bug.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So then you're playing clubs. Are you taking lessons at that point, or you're self-taught?
I took lessons for probably a couple of years, just as a local drum teacher. I got lessons for a couple of years, and then I just wanted to play in bands, and then I played with there was like a lot of musicians in it. It was a very small town, but there was a lot of like great musicians, great like jazz musicians, and so I'd sort of play with some of the older guys, and there was like a local cafe, and they would have like just these like sort of like jam nights once a month, and I'd just get up with anybody, and then but then I had like pub rock like cover band as well that sort of sort of cut my teeth in the pubs,
And who were your drum influences at that time?
At that time, the bands that were just like on the radio and like the big, it was just like the Chili Peppers and the Foo Fighters and
So
that.
Chad Smith, Dave Grohl, Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, and Taylor Hawkins especially was just like, I mean, the first time I saw him play, it was just like, there's like it's an unmatched energy, and he was incredible, and Chad super solid. And I always just wanted to be like energetic and solid, and but then then after that, because you're young and that's just what you're hearing all the time is those bands and those artists and those drummers, then you sort of go back and then you sort of learn where all that came from, and then I got into Mitch Mitchell and John Bonham and Ginger Baker and stuff like that, and then you go back even further to like the 50s jazz drummers, and
Did you get into Buddy?
I love Buddy, yeah, of course.
And did you at that time? Did you see any of these drummers? The time frame we're in, like were they coming to Australia and performing, and you were able to see some of them live, or was all videos and radio?
I saw Chad. He did a clinic, as we were talking about before. He actually did like a clinic in Melbourne. Yeah, and saw him play, and and that was like, as like 16, 17-year-old, it's like, you know, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's larger than life.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
that's what we need at
Yeah.
every age, but especially in the formative years. That jet fuel.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what, like, you know, when young drummers will come and like see me or get to or like meet me and we have a chat or whatever, I like to sort of just like remember that moment when that happened to me. You know, it's
Yeah.
super cool. It's super special.
Did
Yeah.
you meet Chad at the clinic?
No, but I met him. It was in town. The most recent time they were in town, he went into my local drum shop and yeah, went and met him there and said g'day. Yeah.
So as the journey's continuing and you're playing in cover bands and you're practicing, what's the first big break? What's the first big step along the path?
Well, yeah, I wanted to move to the city and just
Go for it.
Yeah, but also just like start being more creative, meet more people, and yeah, and move to Melbourne. I met Stu and Lucas, and we were we played in a band in a little another town just outside of Melbourne called Geelong, and we played in a band, but we were just like always just jamming and just writing and always recording, and it's just it's from the very start just playing with those guys. It's always just been creative, and that's all I wanted. And then playing shows was awesome as well. Like, you know, you do 2 or 3 shows a week, and there's so many bars and clubs and stuff you can play in Melbourne. And so we did that, and then sort of other people would join the band, other people would leave, and then
But that trio was like your musical soulmates, as it would turn out.
yeah, in a way, yeah, Lucas and Stu's kind of where it started, and then from those guys, that's where I met Cook and Ambrose, and I also knew Joey at the same time as well, but everyone was everyone was in like 5 other bands, like it was like and then we started this one big band, which was kind of like, it was, you know, because it was Stu played in like so many bands, but he didn't really front. He wasn't like fronting his own band. So this was kind of for him, and then but he just wanted all his mates on stage with him, and I don't know, it just kind of just.
I mean, it sounds so natural, and I don't want to say easy,
Yeah.
because simple is not easy.
Exactly.
But it sounds very natural, and it sounds like you moved to the big city, you
Yeah.
moved to Melbourne,
Yeah.
you played
Yeah.
as much as you could,
Yeah.
and then it came together.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you for watching and supporting everything Modern Drummer is up to. Hit the subscribe button down below. It means so much to us because we can keep bringing you the best drummers and content all the time. And please check out our shop. We've got Legends books. We've got back issues. We've got swag. Everything the drumming community could want. And it's so exciting to have you guys be the best part of it. Once again, thank you, and enjoy the rest of the video. And then you form King Gizzard, and you guys are playing locally. And what's the first big break that the band gets?
Yeah, well, it was literally just like when we first came to America. To be honest, it was like
Really? So it's 4 years into the band's
Yeah.
time together.
Yeah.
It wasn't
'cause-
really in Melbourne that the big break. Like, did you
Not
have
really.
a manager, a record label, like anything that was like evolutionarily big? Or was it not
No.
until you came to the States?
It was kind of not until we came here, and like there was a few, like, you know, the radio stations in Australia were playing us and stuff, but that was always like super cool, and like, you know, it's awesome. But then we got a grant, and then because we had no money, we couldn't go into America, so we or overseas. So but we ended up winning this grant. And
Through the Australian government?
No, it was actually a beer company.
A beer company. So almost like a sponsorship.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah,
But it was a grant.
Yeah.
And it allowed you to come to the States. And what was the goal when you guys were coming to the States? Were you thinking, we're going to be there for a year, or we're going to play 20 shows, or like, what was the plan?
Yeah, well, we did a tour with. It was kind of a bit of both. We did a tour with White Fence, which is like Tim Presley's project, which we've been big fans of, you know, since we started playing sort of like, you know, garage rock music, you know. So that was awesome. And Michelle, our agent, she books White Fence as well, so she got us on that tour, which was real cool. And it was awesome, like just like small venues. But then we were doing that tour, but then we were also doing a few of our own like little headline shows to like 5 people. Yeah. Or one show we did, we played to no one, and it was just a sound guy, and it was in Montreal, and I think the sound guy even left, which was pretty cool.
So that is the beginning.
Yeah, that's it.
That is truly starting at step one.
Yeah, that's it.
And you guys kept your attitude. Michelle still believed in you, of course.
Yeah.
And just understood that that's part of the process.
Yeah, exactly.
You only find an audience by looking.
Yeah.
You don't find one any other way. And when you start looking, there's nobody there at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
That's for any band.
Yeah, it was
but
cool.
You guys had the, had the belief.
Yeah, for sure. And then we did that for a month, and then the second month, which was probably, like, to this day, I still think is probably one of the best and most important things we did in our career, was we spent a month up at this like log cabin in Hunter Mountain, like, which is like in the Catskills, like upstate New York.
Okay.
And we were writing and recording, but then we were doing a residency in the city. So every once a week we'd go and do a residency, and at Baby's Alright in Williamsburg, and so we did that for a month, and the first show next to no one there, and then by the second one, just more and more people, and by the last one, like the room was full. You know, it was super cool, and and so we'd come into the city for one night, and then we'd go back out to our little log cabin and with all the
keep
bears
writing and recording.
Yeah, and we wrote a lot of Quarters and Mind Fuzz. Those 2 records we wrote out there in the log cabin, and just got super freaky. Yeah, but yeah, that month in New York was real cool, and so I still say to everyone.
What was it that was so transformational when you look back? Because you refer to it with a lot of reverence and a lot of, great memories.
Yeah.
So what was it that was so special?
Well, it was just cool to see, like, because we did the residency, and it was just like, and the tours leading, or the shows that we were doing leading up to that were just like, it was just like nothing. It was fun, touring America and playing little bars and stuff, but. Yeah, and we got to New York and we're doing the residency, and it just each week it just grew and grew, and then the room was full, and like it was just like, it was like, I think that's when everyone sort of like clicked, like, whoa, maybe
this is working.
Yeah, kind of, and then
fantastic.
But we'd like literally we'd play that residency, and then we'd go and play like a house party, or we'd go and like at like 2 a.m. and then. Like, so we'd sometimes do like 2 or 3 shows a night. So we slogged it.
And as the band's growing now from that time, do you stay in the States? That 2-month run, does it end and you go back to Australia, or how does it evolve from there?
Yeah, and then after that 2 months, that first 2 months we were there, we and then after that, I can't really remember, but then we sort of made a conscious effort to keep hitting the States and just like keep doing it, and then even the next tour after that was just like nothing amazing, but then I don't know, just kept at it, and and Michelle, our agent manager, she'd always get us like good slots on festivals and stuff like that. So that was cool. And then 2017, was the first time we did Coachella.
That's a huge moment.
Yeah, and that was and we've done it another time since then. But the first time, I think it was 2017. Yeah, it was the same year we released 5 albums.
And you did all those albums in Australia?
No, not all of them. Most of them. Most of them we recorded ourselves, but we did in New York, because from spending all that time in New York, we we kind of just like grew to just like to love it, and like we made heaps of friends there, and we ended up recording Mind Fuzz and Quarters and Nonagon Infinity. Were the majority of it was recorded at Daptone, in Bushwick, which is like just like a real small like studio in like kind of like an apartment really. It's just, but it's real cool, and there's like, you know, the history there, like with Amy Winehouse and Charles Bradley and a lot of those soul artists. Yeah. So yeah, we got even though we were doing like sort of garage rock, and it was very it was still very soulful sounding. Yeah.
And you guys self-produced.
Yes. Yeah. So Stu. Basically Stu produces everything. Stu mixes all the albums, and Joey does a lot of mixing as well. But throughout the years, we've all kind of gotten really good at just recording ourselves and being able to mix and everything like that. So
do you have a home studio?
Yeah. We all have home studios, and especially through COVID and stuff. Yeah, we had we made like 2 or 3 albums like in isolation and just sending ideas backwards and forwards to each other, and then
what was the biggest or one of the biggest lessons you've learned as you've been on this journey from loving the drums, finding the drums, loving playing in bands and music and rhythm, to now being in the music business, be a full-time touring, successful artist? What's a big lesson that you've learned that you would share with an up-and-coming drummer that's you 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Kind of finding your first band and having things, just trying to go for it.
Yeah. I think persistence and always challenge yourself. We challenge ourselves a lot musically, physically, especially for me. I challenge myself physically, mentally, and creatively.
Never
like
stop
every
growing.
day. Yeah. So it's just like persistence and just constantly challenge yourself to be creative and
And in the persistence part of it, you found that, when you look at those first gigs where there's literally nobody there but the band,
yeah.
that's a real test of persistence, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because it's easy for people to say, have persistence. We hear it a lot. It's such an important, critical component of success in any business, especially music. But when you experience it, then you're really walking the walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's one thing to understand the concept, but it's another thing to actually be persistent.
Yeah.
And you guys, as a group, you clearly are yourself, but all your bandmates are too. Because you have to. Everybody's got to be on that page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what's super special as well. Like the 6 of us are very, very close, very, very tight. We're family, and we're all in the same boat. And it's like
everybody's in it to win it.
Yeah. And there's never really been a moment where, not that I can think of, that like anyone sort of like ever wanted to give up or anything like that.
No matter how hard it gets.
Yeah.
And that's really the definition of persistence.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess, because you're in a band, you're with your mates, and like they're your family. You've got that like kind of like encouragement, and you can push each other and help each other out and that kind of thing, which is really special because we are so close, and which a lot of other bands don't have that. So yeah, we're very lucky to be real tight, friendly, good people.
And so, what does the future look like? More recording, more touring? What's the plan?
Yeah. We're always recording. So when we're not touring, we got a studio in Melbourne, and we sort of treat it like 9 to 5, even if it's not actually working on anything. I'll go in and but we're always working on something. But even if we're not, I'll go in and just like and just play drums. The studio's like 10 minutes from my house, so we kind of treat it like sort of like 9 to 5 when when we're home and not touring, just to, you just gotta keep going.
Right. And you got to keep creating is your mantra.
Yeah, exactly.
Always be working on new music,
Yeah.
pushing yourself, and also pushing the boundaries of the band's sound and songs.
Yeah, for sure. And if I feel like if all of us are the same, if we're not doing that, if we're not being creative, and like, you haven't made music or played guitar, played drums in a while, you start to feel not yourself. So right. I think, well, at least I do, and I know it's the same for the other guys as well. So yeah, it's sort of just like become who we are. But
do you have a practice routine?
No.
It's just all about just playing music, creating new parts, working on new songs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's less drumistic, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
And very much about the music and the songs and the parts.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's what's awesome about like being in a band like is that every album we make is different, and because of that, because that's kind of been the thing that we wanted to do from the start. It's kind of challenged me and forced me to, focus on like jazz drumming or like, and a few years ago I couldn't play double kick, and just because I never really like practiced or had like a need to, and then we decided we wanted to sort of make like a thrash album, and so I worked on like my double kick stuff. And
who was an influence for your double kick? Who did you listen to start getting inspired?
It's definitely Filthy Phil, and like like Jay Weinberg, like his work with Slipknot was just like his like energy and power and accuracy was like. Yeah, that always amazed me as well. Like he is an absolute machine, on the double kick thing, like with Louis Belson, when he was sort of like one of the first drummers to, bring the double kick to like big band jazz drumming and
just drumming in general.
And then now I use like double kicking. Like I like to use it in like a sort of a more percussive, like musical way, and like I love doing the Motorhead Overkill beat. I love that, and I throw that in everywhere. But I also like to just throw in double kick, like sort of like percussively, or like bring it right down in a drum solo or something like that.
Well, your drumming feels to me like there's an aspect of it that sounds very tribal influenced, like multi-layered rhythms. Kind of playing all at once, and that in double bass leads to so many possibilities with that style.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that your approach and style? Like what I'm hearing is how you're approaching it?
Yeah, for sure. And like it's cool. Like when I do like drum solos and stuff, I like to just rolling double kicks, and then being sort of creative on the toms or whatever over the top of that. And I guess a lot of that also comes from like Danny Carey, like doing those like all those like polyrhythms Danny's been a big inspiration for me as well. Like especially with all of our like prog albums, prog metal stuff that we've been doing lately. Danny's the man.
Yeah, he's great. He's an amazing drummer, great person.
Yeah,
great friend of modern drummer.
Yeah.
So. What's next for Mickey Cavs? How do you see the next chapter?
Yeah, well, I don't like. Yeah, we're just gonna keep going, and we're gonna. We got another record in the works that we recorded with an orchestra in Melbourne.
First time
with an orchestra. We didn't do it live with them. We had the songs, and then we got an arranger in who was a friend of Stu's, and he arranged a and composed the orchestra section. Yeah, and then we did 3 days in the studio of tracking the orchestra, and that was super special to all of us, like because we'd never done it before, and a lot of the players that were played on it from like the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, and which a lot of us have like grown up going to, Melbourne Symphony Orchestra shows, like, whether it's like them playing Star Wars to,
Sure.
to
And
like
now
Hans Zimmer stuff, like,
Right,
yeah. But yeah, and then just like having them in the studio, and it was amazing. Yeah.
And so that record's going to come out with the orchestra,
Next year, yeah.
and then
And
you'll play some shows with them.
Yeah. We're doing and then we're doing a US tour with an orchestra. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So that's I think May next year, or yeah, we're doing some really really big, really special shows with an orchestra. I think it's a 30-piece orchestra. So yeah, and it's gonna be huge. So we're gonna play the whole album, and then we're gonna rearrange a bunch of stuff from our back catalogue
Nice.
to go with the orchestra. So yeah.
Would you? It's pretty accurate to say that your band is a band for the people, right? It doesn't follow the convention of
No.
record label and pop and all
Yeah.
of the the kind of the standard approach.
Yeah.
You would say.
Yeah.
Is that something that just that's how it evolved and you guys just did it your way, or was there a conscious effort? I mean, most bands form and then they start going for a label and they start going for very traditional pathways, but you guys have kind of done it your way.
Yeah, and a few of the guys did. A few of the guys did like music industry courses at uni, and that's also how some of the other guys met through doing this course. It's kind of just like the same as like our music. We just always wanted to just challenge the norm, with all of it. And then, and then Eric, who was in the band, he started the label, just like we do it ourselves, and like we have the whole like infrastructure of a label, but it's kind of like we have a team that runs it, and but it's kind of just purely just for us, But yeah, I think we are going to start to branch out and start to release some other bands like under our label.
Oh, fantastic.
But at the moment, it's always just been us on the label kind of thing. Yeah, for the last few years anyway. Yeah.
And that's that's an astute approach, right? As the band's growing, why go to another label, give a big piece of the revenue to a label when you can do it yourself, if you can do it yourself, but you guys can. It's a very modern approach.
For sure. Yeah, it is, and a lot of bands and artists are starting to do it now, and it's just like thanks to Stu and Michelle especially, they've Stu and Michelle have managed to create a really really good team. And business that is King Giz,
Well, Modern Drummer, be sure to check out Mickey in the Pat Stewart November issue, November of 23, where you have your cover inset. It's a very cool article.
Yeah.
The Don Famularo tribute and Pat Stewart, November 23. Mickey, thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, it's a pleasure having you, and thank you for inspiring the drum community and just being so passionate about the instrument and music and rhythm and all that you do and all the drummers worldwide that you inspire. Thank you. Check out Mickey's rundown. Different video, of course. We've got 2 rundowns now, 2 different tours, and you guys are going to love it. And we'll be seeing you again in the very near future. I'm David Frangioni, Modern Drummer, the Modern Drummer Podcast. Please hit the subscribe button below, everybody. We appreciate your support. You're the best part of the Modern Drummer community, and we'll see you guys soon.